Welcome to the learning portal of Thakur Vidya Mandir High School and Junior College. Welcome to the learning portal of Thakur Vidya Mandir High School and Junior College. As we have learned in our first lecture that operating system divide its services into three main sections: information management, process management, and memory management. We have already learned in detail about information and process management. Today, we'll focus on one of the main perspective of operating system, that is memory management. The content related to memory management is single contiguous memory management, fixed partitioning, variable partitioning, paging, segmentation, and virtual memory. As we have learned that memory management module performs following function, that is to keep track of all memory location, free or allocated, and if allocated, to which process and how much. To decide memory allocation policy, that is which process should get how much memory, when and where, and also to use various techniques and algorithm to allocate or deallocate memory location. Therefore, this is achieved with help of some special hardware. Now, if I see, the following are the different memory management systems which we will learn and which are used by the hardware for the management of the memory. The first one is contiguous real memory management, which has three techniques: single contiguous, fixed partition, and variable partition. The second is non-contiguous real memory management, which has paging and segmentation as a technique. And third one is non-contiguous virtual memory management, which has virtual memory as one of the technique for memory management. We will learn about each technique in detail in today's class. Before we go and learn about the techniques, let us first focus on the memory map of single user operating system. As you can see in the diagram, the single user operating system memory is divided into following part: free memory, that is for the user process, then the process memory, command interpreter, and kernel. Operating system like MS-DOS is a single user operating system. The memory map of such operating system consists of a program to be executed, that is process, free memory, available, command interpreter, and kernel. The command interpreter of the single user operating system is invoked when the computer is started. The operating system load programs to be executed in main memory and assign as much memory as possible to it. It then sets instruction pointer and executes the program. If the program is terminated, then it is removed from the memory. The kernel of such operating system provides basic operating system services, while the command interpreter interprets the command. So let's learn each technique in detail. Whenever we'll learn a different technique, we'll deal with memory. Now, before we know about those techniques, what is memory and which memory we are dealing about? Main memory over here refers to physical memory, that is the internal memory of the computer. The word main is used to distinguish it from external mass storage like disk drives. Main memory can also be termed as RAM. The computer is able to change only data that is in main memory. Therefore, even every program we execute and every file we access must be copied from your storage device into the main memory, that is your RAM. All the programs are loaded in the main memory for execution. Sometimes a complete program is loaded into the memory, but sometimes a certain part or routine of a program is loaded into the main memory. Only when it is called by the program, the mechanism is called dynamic loading. Also, at times one program is dependent on the other program. In such case, rather than loading all the dependent program, CPU links the dependent program to the main executing program when it's required. And this mechanism is known as dynamic linking. Now, what is single contiguous memory management? As you can see in the diagram, single contiguous memory management has only two parts of the memory. Half part or a part is assigned to OS program, which is used by the OS processes or the programs which are used for operating system, and the second part is for user process area. In this memory management system, the physical memory is divided into two contiguous areas. One is permanently allocated to the resident portion of operating system, and the remaining is used by the user process. As shown here, operating system may be loaded at the address which is assigned as OS monitor. At any time, only one user process can be taken into the memory. This process is run. Once the completion of that process takes place, the next process will be brought into the memory. The next technique is partitioning. Certain operating systems use partitioned memory management to allow multi-programming. Partitioning means dividing main memory into various sections. These sections are called as partition. There are two types of partitioning which you can follow. One is fixed partitioning and other one is variable partitioning. We'll learn both of them in detail. The first partitioning technique is fixed partition. It is one of the simplest and earliest technique which can be used to load more than one process into main memory. In this technique, the main memory is divided into partition of equal or it can be of different sizes. Now this size is defined at the time of system generation, and whatever is the partition description of partition size which is defined, it cannot be changed. So this particular partition is also known as static partition. Who decides the partitioning? It is the system manager who decides the partitioning when a system is generated. Also, in fixed partitioning, you always remember the memory is assigned to the process in a contiguous way. When I say contiguous way, it means one after the other. So I cannot go and assign partition 1 to one program and directly to partition 4 to the other program. It will go in a sequence of partition 1, partition 2, partition 3 and partition 4, so on. So operating system always resides in the partition, while the other partition can be used to store other sister programs. So as you can see in the diagram also, operating system is being given the first partition which was described, and rest of the partition is given to the processes which are coming into picture for execution. In fixed partitioning, the partition cannot overlap. Also, a process must be contiguously present in the partition for the execution. Now, as you can see in the diagram, you have process P1, P2, P3, P4, each of which is having requirement of 3 MB of memory for execution. It can differ also, like I can have process P1, P2, P3 of 3 MB and process P4 of 2 MB. It depends on what is the process which is coming into picture for execution. Now the second one is your second part is the memory, which is divided into 5 partition, whereas the first partition is allocated to the operating system and rest 4 partition is kept for the processes which are there into picture. Now process P1 is assigned partition 1, process P2 is assigned partition 2, process P3 is assigned partition 3 in a sequence that is in a contiguous manner. But as you can see the partition, in each partition you can see 1 MB of memory which is unused. So those unused 1 MB cannot be used by any other process as any other process for the storage. as that particular partition is assigned to the given process. So as you can see that process P5 requires 4 MB. There is a 4 MB of memory which is unused in this particular memory location, but still I cannot use it for P5 because that is part of the partitions which are already assigned to the processes P1, P2, P3 and P4. So these particular memory get wastage, and this particular, when I say that internally inside each partition memory gets wasted, that is termed as internal fragmentation. Fragmentation basically means a wastage of memory, and it is internally wasted in the partition, that is why it is called as internal fragmentation. Now process P5 cannot be assigned, that's because of this internal fragmentation. So until and unless all 4 processes get executed and it goes out of the partition, the next process cannot be loaded. So first problem is of internal fragmentation. Due to internal fragmentation, there are 2 more problems which comes into picture with fixed partitioning. One is the degree of multiprogramming, it will get reduced, and the second one is CPU utilization. Again CPU utilization will be reduced, because if I could have assigned that particular memory to P5, there would have been 5 programs which could have been executed, so degree of multiprogramming would have increased and even the CPU utilization would have increased. When I say fixed partitioning, we always keep a table which is maintained in fixed partitioning, and that table is called fixed, that is called partition description table, which we also termed as PDT. In order to overcome the problem of fixed partitioning, that is of internal fragmentation, a new technique was introduced which was called as variable, or you can also term it as dynamic partitioning. Why dynamic partitioning? Because the partition size is not declared initially, it is declared at the time of process loading, and it could differ according to the process. If one process is of 5 MB, the other process is of 2 MB, the third process is of 3 MB, accordingly a partition will be defined to them. The first partition is reserved again for the operating system, and the remaining space is divided into the part according to the processes. The size of each partition will be equal to the size of the process, and the partition size varies according to the need of the process, so that internal fragmentation can be avoided. Now, if I say variable partitioning, the points which you have to keep in mind is that the number of partition and the sizes are variable. It is not defined at the time of system generation. These partitions are created by operating system at runtime, so the size can differ according to the processes. The procedure to be followed for memory allocation is nearly same as that in case of fixed partitioning, that is, it is contiguous. So as and when the process comes, the allocation will be taking place one after the other. At any time, any partition may be free or allocated to some process. Also, in variable partitioning, starting address of the partition is not fixed. It can be anything, whereas in fixed partitioning it was fixed because the size you were knowing that it is going to end at that particular part only. So to overcome the variable partitioning, now there is a simple problem of external fragmentation in variable partitioning. Say for example, if you see the picture, P1, that is process P1, has 5 MB, process P2 requires 2 MB, process P3 requires 3 MB. And in case if process P4 requires 5 MB for execution, and if you see the partition which is there, first is 5 MB, it will give 2 MB, it is given 3 MB. The requirement is of 5 MB now for me, and the data, the memory which is left is only 4 MB. So I cannot load 5 MB of process into P4. So that memory will get wasted until and unless I get any program or process which is of 4 MB or less than 4 MB. So if that particular program will not come into picture, this memory will again get wasted, which is known as external fragmentation. So according to what we have learned about fixed and variable partitioning, we can differentiate between both of them by: first, partition created could be changed in fixed partition, whereas it could not be changed in variable partitioning. Partition is defined at a time of system generation in fixed partition, whereas here it cannot be defined at the time of system generation as it is a dynamic partitioning. It suffer from a problem of internal fragmentation in case of fixed partitioning, whereas there is external fragmentation in variable partitioning. Number of partition and their sizes are fixed with fixed partition, whereas in variable partitioning, number of partition and their sizes differ. Now, what are the various steps involved in allocation of partition in case of fixed partitioning or variable partitioning? We'll focus more on fixed partitioning. When a process is to be allocated a partition, following steps are followed. The long-term process scheduler of process management, that is PM, decide which process to be brought into the memory. If then find out of the size of the program to be loaded by consulting the IM. IM is information management portion of the operating system. The compiler keeps the size of the program in the header of the executable file, then makes a request to the partition allocation routine of the memory management, that is MM, to allocate a free partition with the appropriate size. The partition description table, as I told in fixed partitioning, PDT, is useful for this particular process or procedure. With the help of IM module, it now loads the binary program in the allocated partition. If then makes an entry of the partition ID in the PCB, that is process control block, before the PCB is linked to the chain of ready processes by using the process management module of the operating system. The routine in the memory management now defines partition description table and marks the status of the partition as allocated. The process management eventually schedule this process. The process table is defined in the next PPT. This is how the partition description table looks. You have different processes. So in a PDT you have a partition ID, that is how many partition of a memory is created, and in the portion, that is in the partition, you have starting address, you have size of each partition, and you have a status whether that particular partition is allocated. So if that particular partition is free, you can load a new process. If it is not free, then you will get a symbol of ALLC, that is allocation, given to it. The next section was non-contiguous real memory management system, in which the first technique is paging. In operating system, paging is a strong mechanism used to retrieve process from secondary storage into the main memory in form of pages. The main idea behind paging is to divide each process in a form of pages. So program is divided into pages. So the main memory will also be divided in the form of frames. So one is collection of frame and one is collection of pages. One page of the process is to be stored in one of the frame of the memory. The pages can be stored at different location of the memory, but the priority is always to find the contiguous frames or whole. Pages of the process are brought into the main memory only when they are required, otherwise they reside in the secondary storage. Different operating systems define different frame sizes. The size of each frame must be equal, considering the fact that the pages are mapped to the frames in paging. Page size need to be as same as frame size. As you can see in the diagram, you have main memory which is divided into frame and your process divided into pages. So the page bifurcation and frame bifurcation has to be same. Let us consider the main memory size of 16 KB, and the frame size is 1 KB. So that is, each frame has 1 KB size. Therefore, the main memory will be divided into collection of 16 frames of 1 KB each. There are 4 processes in the system, that is P1, P2, P3 and P4 of 4 KB each. Each process is divided into pages of 1 KB each, so that one page can be stored in one frame. Initially, all the frames are empty, therefore pages of the process will get stored in contiguous way. Frames, pages and the mapping between the two is shown in the image over here. Let us consider that P2 and P4 are moved to waiting state after some time. Now 8 frames become empty, and therefore other pages can be loaded in that empty place. Process P5 of size 8 KB is waiting inside the queue for the execution, given the fact that we have 8 non-contiguous frames available in the memory, and paging provides the flexibility of storing the process at different places. Therefore, we can load the page of process P5 in the place of P2 and P4. So how you can define paging? Paging permits a program memory to be non-contiguous, allowing a program to be allocated physical memory wherever it is available. Physical memory is broken into fixed size block, which is called as page frame, whereas logical memory is also broken into block of the same size, which is called pages. So physical memory is the actual memory, which is RAM, and logical memory, that is pages, is your process. When a program is to be executed, its pages are loaded into any available frames, and the page map table defines to translate from user page to memory frames. The page size is defined by hardware. It is typically in power of 2. The paging model of the memory is shown in the next slide. So as you can see in the picture, you have logical memory, that is your pages. You have a page map table which has the page number, as well as on the other side it has a frame number. Whereas you have a physical memory, that is your actual memory, which is frames. So logical memory pages is fixed inside frame by maintaining a PMT, that is a page map table. Every address generated by the CPU is divided into two parts: page number, that is P, and a page offset displacement, that is D. So you can see in the next part of the diagram, CPU generates logical address in two ways, which is having a page number and a displacement. Displacement is what is the size, and the page number is used in the index into a PMT. The same page number will be searched in a PMT with the respective frame, that is physical address, and it will generate a physical address. So logical address will get converted into physical address and a physical memory. So how does this logical to physical translation takes place? The logical address is the address generated by the CPU for every page, while the physical address is the actual address of the frame where each page will be stored. When a page is to be accessed by the CPU by using the logical address, the operating system needs to obtain the physical address to access the page physically. So you have two offset, as I said, page number and the displacement. Memory management unit of operating system need to convert this page number to the frame number. So it will go and search the PMT to see in which frame this particular page is located. As soon as that index will be generated, you will get a new physical address with frame number and displacement. The next non-contiguous real memory management is segmentation. Segmentation are logical division of programs and hence are normally of variable sizes. Segmentation is a memory management scheme which support users' view of memory. Each segment has number and length. Each program in executable form can be considered to be consisting of different segments such as code, data and stack. Each of this can be further divided into a new segments. So basically segment is bifurcation of your program, big program, into different modules so that it becomes easy for the storage. A program normally contains main program, some subprograms and few predefined and precompiled function. Each of this belongs to different segments. An application program does not necessarily have to be declared with different segments in the program. Various segment in this program does not define explicitly, then the compiler does it by its own. Following are the jobs of the compiler: to recognize different segments in the program, number those segments, then define segment table, produce executable image by assigning two-dimensional addresses. Consider the example. As shown in figure, 4 segments that is numbered as 0 to 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. The SMT, that is segment map table, has a separate entry for each segment giving the size and the base of the segment. So segment table if you can see, it has segment number, it has limit is that what is the area or memory required for that particular segment, and then it has a base address. Base address is the starting address from where the storage of the segment has taken place. So accordingly it will get stored. Once the segment gets stored into the main memory, there is a entry done into a segment map table. So now let's have a look on the difference between paging and segmentation. Pages are physical in nature. Segments are logical division of program. Pages are of fixed size. Segmentation segments are of variable size. Page table translates from user page to memory frames. The segment table has separate entry for each segment in physical memory and length of that segment. Whereas in paging, logical memory is divided into physical memory. Your main memory is divided into segments. Coming to the third memory management technique, that is non-contiguous virtual memory management. Virtual memory is an attempt which makes the execution of the process possible, which may be completely not in the main memory. Some part of the process may be on the disk and some may be outside the disk. The memory management techniques are simple to implement, but the major drawback is that if the physical memory is limited, that is RAM is limited, the number of process it can hold at a time, that is the degree of multi-programming can reduce. For this concept of virtual memory was introduced. The main advantage of virtual memory is user can execute program whose size may be greater than the physical memory. Virtual memory is difficult to implement. It can be implemented by paging or segmentation or a combination of both, but mostly it is usually implemented by paging technique. A program consists of number of logical or virtual pages. To start execution of the program, some of the pages are loaded into a specific page frame. If a page is not loaded into the memory and a location from the page is referenced, at that time a page fault arises. When a page fault arises, OS, that is operating system, loads the referenced page into the main memory from the disk. As we have understood that at a time the entire process cannot be loaded into the main memory due to the restrictions or due to the less storage capacity of the main memory. That's why we have a virtual memory which is attached to your RAM and it takes into picture that the program is loaded from the disk towards the main memory, but actually the program is residing in your virtual memory. There are some concepts related to virtual memory then, and how does a switching of the particular process part takes from virtual to main memory. The first concept is locality of reference. The basic principle behind virtual memory is your locality of reference. This gives some basis to forecast whether the page, that is, whether that particular memory is likely to be referred in the future or not, depending on its behavior in the past. If that particular program is used for frequently, then you have to maintain the copy of that program, or if it is not referred, then the particular program will be deleted from the memory and a new program which is required will be taken inside. Thus, it helps to decide whether the page should be thrown out from the main memory or to make a space for the new page or not. If this principle is not valid, user cannot throw any pages out in the disk from the main memory without a possible severe degradation in the performance. The next one is page fault. In many systems, when a process or program is executing with only a few pages in the memory, and when an instruction is encountered which refers to any instructions or data in some other page which is outside the main memory, that is on the disk, to pay, then this particular problem may occur, which is called as page fault. At this stage, operating system must bring that required page into the main memory before the execution of that instruction can restart. For example, if I'm executing C++ program and there is some header file which is not loaded into the main memory, and there is a requirement of that header file, so immediately operating system will empty some part of the memory according to the locality of reference from the main memory, and it will take down the program, the header file, in the main memory. The next is working set. At any time, a process has number of pages in the physical memory. Not all of these are actively referred. The set of pages in the physical memory actively referred to at any movement is called working set. So the frequently working program is known as working set program. This has a significant bearing on the policy of bringing in page from the disk to the main memory if the operating system follows the working set model. The next is page replacement policy. Now, page replacement policy works on the basis of working set and the page fault. As the number of process and the number of pages in the main memory increase, all the page frames becomes occupied. At this time, if a new page is to be bought in the operating system, the operating system has to overwrite some existing pages in the memory. The page to be overwritten is selected by the page replacement policy. There are a number of ways in which operating system selects a page to overwrite. The OS designer chooses one amongst them of such policy and then write corresponding algorithm for it. Next is dirty page or dirty bit. The page which is modified after it is loaded into the main memory from the disk is called dirty page. The operating system maintains one bit for each physical page frame to denote whether a page has become dirty or not. This bit is called dirty bit. So there should not be modification done to the pages or to the program into the disk if the execution is taking place. If execution is taking, it will not reflect the changes which is done in the disk. And the last one is demand paging. In demand paging, a page is brought in only when demanded. Consider process is created with no pages in the main memory. When the process is dispatched initially, the program counter will have been loaded with the address of the first instruction. This address obviously belongs to a page outside the main memory, so a page fault will occur and the OS will now bring that page in memory. In this way, as page fault goes on occurring, the operating system brings new referred pages. This is called demand paging. The drawback of demand paging is that lot of pages which have been passed but which now are not required remain in memory unnecessarily. Before we sign off for today's video class, let's have a look on the board question. What functions are performed by memory management of operating system? State any four memory management system. Explain memory map of a single user operating system. What is partitioning? Explain fixed and variable partitioning. Write down the difference between fixed and variable partitioning. State various steps involved in allocation of a partition in case of fixed partition memory management. Explain single contiguous memory management system with suitable memory mapping diagram. What is paging? Explain in detail. What is segmentation? Differentiate between paging and segmentation. Explain the concept of virtual memory in brief, and explain the following terms of virtual memory, that is locality of reference, page fault, working set, page replacement policy, dirty page or dirty bit, and demand paging. Thank you. Love and peace from TVM family.